Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the NARPM podcast. I'm your host, Pete Newbig, the voice of NARPM, and I have a very special guest with me today. So I have NARPM National President, Dee Lee Garzon. But before I go into Dee, before I bring you in, I also got to talk about my friendship with Dee it really exemplifies NARPM. So Dee and I met years ago. I heard her speak at a NARPM event. We ended up connecting. She heard me speak, and we just became kind of like NARPM buddies. But now, because of Dee's passion and her husband's passion for running, Dee and I have actually traveled together. And now I actually, Dee's not just a NARPM friend, but a friend as well. So Dee, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you for being on the NARPM Radio podcast.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Pete. Yeah, one of my fondest memories with you is, of course, staying at your house and being your house guests when we came to Houston to run that marathon 2 years ago.
Yeah, when it was like 30 degrees out.
it was crazy, but we had a ton of fun. You supported me so much on that run. Pushed me through the last 2 miles, which was the hardest for any marathon. But without you being my cheerleader, I don't think I could have done it.
Well, the worst is when I came to Georgia to run a marathon with you. It was your first one, and I promised you I'd run it with you. And my back went out the week before, and I literally could only do like the half of the race. So I did like the first 4 miles with you before it broke off. I felt so terrible.
But you still walked with me the last, mile on that one.
I think I did the last 3 or 4 miles with you.
You did. What a good friend.
So, okay. So Dee, other than being an avid runner, being the founder of Skyline Properties Group and then selling that to Pure or exiting to Pure, being the industry leader with Pure, being the NARPM national president, being an investor of real estate, being a co-founder of PMI Implementers, running your own Airbnb as a host, creating Pad Splits, which is another deal you got going on. Where do you find the time and the energy? Because I'm just tired. When I say all that, I need to go have a nap before I finish.
I'm surprised that you got all of it. I'm like waiting for you to miss one thing, but I think you got all of it.
Well, I think you also donate.
I do some volunteer work too.
I was going to say, so you do some volunteer work. That's the only thing I missed. Yeah. And of course the potential land in Tennessee.
Potential land in Tennessee. Yeah.
All right. So obviously you're a giver. You volunteer. You've given back to NARPM. Since I've known you, you've been local, you've been at national level, and now the NARPM president. So congratulations, Madam President. Do I gotta call you Madam President now when we're on the phone when I call you?
It's pronounced Madame.
Madame President. Okay. Madame President. All right. So I know because I was at NARPM National, but a lot of people listening were not. So can we talk about, there's a lot of changes, I think mostly positive or all positive changes at NARPM. But there's a lot of water cooler talk, right? So let's set the record straight and let's go over all the different changes that are coming out for 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. All good changes, Pete. I think to me, I've always been a champion of change because there's always a better way to do things. And I firmly believe that. And that is one of the reasons I got involved with NARPM. What excites me about any business, any organization is the opportunities to improve, right? So the more opportunities there are, the more excited I get to be involved with something. And that's NARPM. So one of the things about NARPM is that in the last decade, I would say our membership has stayed the same. So let's address the elephant in the room, right? NARPM's
You're
membership.
talking about not the membership price. You're talking about the number of members.
The number of members
has stayed about the same.
The number of members has stayed the same. Now, we all know what a great organization NARPM is. You and I love NARPM. We're passionate about it. We have great people, we have great education, we have great conferences and networking. And, so many people say that NARPM is one of the only organizations where people openly share information and resources, and we're truly a big happy family, right? So why is it then that we're not growing in membership numbers? So we really, as you know, the board and leadership of NARPM, we really take that to heart, because an organization that does not grow eventually dies. And we love NARPM too much to allow it to get there. So some significant changes had to happen, right, for us to create that shift. So one of the changes we implemented, and this started over 2 years ago, is the concept of NARPM 2.0. So I think everyone by now has heard of that terminology. It's been said, but to simply put, NARPM 2.0 is taking the current NARPM structure, which is all volunteer driven, volunteer run. So you look at the local, state, national level, most of the work it's done by volunteers, committee members are
And
volunteers.
a lot of times it's done by property management owners or property managers that are already overworked
Yeah.
in their own business.
Yeah, I mean, business owners, I mean, you know, employees, everyone, you got your work, you have your family, maybe some time for yourself, right? And then at the end of the day, if there's any time left, which is not a whole lot, is volunteer work. So over the years, things have either gotten done very slowly or not at all in NARPM. And staff, we do have a staff. OMG is our management company. The way with the old structure is staff, they really want to do things, they really have great ideas, because they're the ones that are like, you know, facing all the problems, they're dealing with the problems, but they cannot make a move until the volunteers direct them to do so. So their hands were tied as well. And NARPM 2.0 is an idea that was brought to us by some of the large brokers in our organization who saw the future, right? And they're like, well, the future doesn't look good for NARPM. So we need to start making that change right now. But they presented the idea of NARPM 2.0 for us. We embraced it. We implemented it. So NARPM 2.0 takes us from that volunteer run organization to professionally driven. Still volunteer led. That's the difference. Is, you know, volunteers are people like property managers, owners of property management companies, who are industry experts, and we know what we need. So we come together and we set the vision, we set the strategic plans, and we set the, you know, actionable goals and metrics, and then staff takes that and they go and execute it. Full-time staff will go and do all the work. They no longer need to, you know, check in with this and say, can we do this? Can we do that? If it's in line with our budget, with our, you know, goals and our initiatives, they know they can do it. So that is the main difference between current NARPM and NARPM 2.0. So some of the changes that we had to implement to make NARPM 2.0 to change the structure basically of the organization
Right. So
is,
you guys had to do a lot of,
yeah,
I would say, kind of like foundational work before you can actually
yeah,
get to the work,
yep,
right? Is that
hmm,
okay?
yep. So we updated our bylaws. I mean, not just updating, but basically rewriting. We took the bylaws, the policies and procedures, and took out things that were basically shackling us, right? It did not allow us the flexibility and fluidity to make changes, to make decisions easily or quickly. Like whatever was in there that prohibited us from doing that, we changed it, we updated it. So now the new set of bylaws and policies and procedures allow the board and allow our leaders to implement changes quickly and be able to allocate resources to what is the right thing, which is benefiting our membership, right? So with that done, and I have to, you know, give a shout out to Amy Hansen and the 2025 board. They worked their butts off, Pete. Like I'm not the person when it comes to pouring, you know, reading the bylaws and policies procedures, you know that about me. So, but we have some really talented people on the board who enjoy doing that. Like they enjoy reading through and highlighting all the changes that are needed. And if it weren't for them, I don't know if we could have pulled it off, but they really spent
So
hours
they
and
did,
hours.
yeah. They did the heavy lifting grunt work, and now you
Hmm.
get to implement some cool potential change.
Yeah,
So
I'm the lucky one who gets to lead that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
they built the foundation. You're gonna build the
Hmm.
framing, and then the president in
Right.
27 is gonna be able
Yeah.
to put the sheetrock on, and we're gonna keep building this bad boy. So
Yeah.
what are look, some of the complaints of some of the members have always been like, you know, I don't really get much value of my NARPM membership after I've, get that initial couple of years, right? Or um, there's no data. Even though I'm part of
Mhm.
NARPM, we have no data. Like there's nothing that the organization provides to us as far as data. Nobody knows what NARPM is. So when an investor calls me up or a potential client, and I proudly say I'm a NARPM member, they're like, "A what?"
Right.
And so, those have been kind of long-standing challenges. I'm sure there's a bunch more, but those are the three that I can come up with top of my
Yeah,
head.
you nailed it on the head, Pete. So these are like the constant complaints that I heard too over the years. So we took these, like, complaints or ideas, right? They're really suggestions at the end of the day. Um, it is, how do we help our members understand the value of their membership with NARPM? Because some of the reasons people are not renewing is exactly what you said. It's like, what value am I getting from NARPM? I've already gone to all the classes. I've already, met everybody I needed to meet. I feel like I already learned everything. Now what? So we really focus on that. Is let's figure out some really critical things that members will find so valuable. I wanted changes where they can feel the impact to their business, bottom line, almost immediately. And we want to provide a value that keeps them coming back, right? Keeps them like renewing their membership. And so to address the 3 points that you mentioned, thank you for setting me up for that, is, first and foremost, the number one initiative is public marketing. And not just public marketing, like you said, like making sure that the public knows who NARPM is, knows the difference between a professional NARPM member and someone who is not, or a DIY landlord, right? We want a really good marketing firm now to present like a very propelling, vivid story to the public, where they understand, like, oh, if I'm going to hire a property manager, I need to make sure it's a NARPM member or someone with a designation, because if I don't, I my phone calls will never be answered and my house will never be, cared for. So we have to paint
My
that.
lease will never be renewed.
Our lease will never be renewed. Like, you have to
You
paint
know,
that kind of nightmarish story. However, these marketing firms, will be able to do, because they're the professionals. But in addition to that public marketing, we're also going to do a brand overhaul, because while we look at the current NARPM logo, it was probably designed like 30 years ago, does not reflect modern colors. And, we just want a fresh look that is going to be reflected in all of our marketing, on our website,
website overhaul, or is that
website overhaul.
yeah?
Our websites that's public facing should be public facing. It's going to be easy to navigate, easy for people to find out where our events are, how to get involved, how to get classes, how to get to classes and things like that. What is NARPM? And then for members, we want to provide a better experience, right? Like how to communicate with each other, how to getting reminders about upcoming events and classes like that. We're going to bring that to a membership app, right? So it's going to be more an internal tool that will be easy to use and easy to navigate through, instead of a cumbersome website. So that's going to be an overhaul as a part of this strategic initiative. And then the third piece to this public facing, right, aspect is we're going to have a PR firm to help us craft messages, of course, to tell the public who we are, but also craft messages when it comes to legislative housing issues. Um, we do not want to hide behind our members anymore when it comes to fighting right legislation. There are so many states that are negatively impacted right now by just crazy housing legislation. And yes, while we have
There's a
really
lot
good
more
lobbyists,
pro tenant groups out there than there are pro landlord groups out there.
yeah, yes, that's one of the issues that's facing our industry. We have lobbyists, right,
Yeah, but the
that are
challenge is
trying to,
if we keep our membership stagnant, we can never get enough money for the
yeah,
PAC to help us fight
correct.
inflation at a local
Yeah.
and national level.
Yeah, and our voice isn't as strong. When you say we have 6,000 members versus 30,000 members, it's a different game at that point.
Let me ask you
So
this on that membership. Are we
yeah.
going to open? Is NARPM going to open up to self manager landlords, or does it have to be third party?
Our membership, we changed our membership types about, I think, 3 years ago, where any person who manages properties, so whether it's a investor, whether it's a large company that have their own employees,
Mhm.
those employees, because they're involved in,
Optimi-
the management of properties, they can become members. So
Got
yes, I mean, we're here to serve that entire single family rental housing industry,
So
right? We want to,
NARPM has a kind of a same challenge as property managers, actually, right? As property managers, we have two clients, right? We have the property owner, and then we have the resident. And with NARPM, they have two clients as well. As I'm thinking through this, right? They have the general public that wants to use a property manager, and then they got property managers. So we're going to do marketing for both of
yeah, yeah,
those
we
target
are.
markets.
Yep, great point. So outside of marketing to the public, which are potential clients to our members, potential or investors, right? Current do-it-yourself landlords or accidental landlords, whatever it is, that public marketing will drive doors to our members. So that's going to be an immediate benefit. The other one is exactly what you said: is marketing to property managers who are not NARPM members. Um, well, hopefully, these property managers who are not NARPM members are seeing the ads that we're putting out to tell investors, like, hey, hire a NARPM member if you're going to hire a property manager, and hire someone who has a designation behind their name, right? When they see these ads, they're going to realize, well, I better join NARPM or else I'm going to miss out on potential clients. So that's the hope, is that both will work together to bring more members to NARPM. And then our chapters, they always, each individual chapter, one of the struggles that they have right now is membership growth. And in the past, it's been on our individual chapters to basically put in their own efforts, spend their own money on marketing, right, to bring in new members. Well, now they're going to have national support with our public marketing campaigns to potential members. We hope to drive more members to our local chapters and our state chapters as well.
Yeah, one of the things that always just never made any sense to me is when Gail or NARPM president, whoever's up there, is just saying, okay, the way we're going to grow this organization is if everybody just invited a property manager. So, like, they want the membership to go out and recruit a property manager to then join, right? And then that trickled down to the local, like in Houston, they're like, oh, everybody just go out and find a property manager. And I'm like, y'all don't understand. We're all very busy. We're all trying to build our own clients. So why would I spend money and time trying to recruit, especially local? Why am I trying to recruit competition where I can just recruit, property owners to come to my business? So having some help and a plan that national is now going to help. I'm guessing they're going to help finance this as well instead of local chapters. A lot of local chapters have no money, right? And so that would make things a lot easier on the volunteers. And the other thing too is there's studies that only 10% of an organization typically volunteers. It's like less than 10%. So if you
It's
have the same amount of members year after year, and let's say we had 6,000 members, that's 600 volunteers on a good year, right? On a good year, and you have local, state, national volunteers. You're going to wear those people out. They're retreads. I mean, how many times have you volunteered for different things? How many times have I volunteered for different things? And after about 5 years of that, you're like, I'm done, right?
yeah,
Go find new people. So this is
yeah,
all exciting news that NARPM is going to invest in the right people, PR firm, marketing firm, invest in the right amount of dollars, and go after the right people, right? Like our ICP of the general
mhm,
public, the ICP of the property management firms. So this is super exciting because high tide rises all boats, and
mhm.
we can become more of a force legislatively by having more members.
100%. Yes. You said it exactly right. We are deploying resources that we already have. Credit to Gail, for doing such a great job in building our reserves. NARPM,
My
happy to
understanding is
I'm
we my understanding is the organization is very healthy financially.
happy, extremely healthy. As a matter of fact, we were told by consultants that we hired, we hire consultants to come in and audit our organization, audit our management company to make sure we're doing the right thing and give us recommendations on what we should do. And one of the things they said is, yeah, you have such a healthy reserve that it's time to deploy the resources
So
and
basically, you
give
have
it
too much money.
back,
You have too much money in the bank.
to your membership. Time to invest, so we heard it, loud, and it's a perfect timing to do so. We want to, of course, deploy the funds in the right places, not all at once, but strategically. So, public marketing for all the things that you mentioned, Pete, is absolutely necessary for our membership to grow.
Okay, I'm going to pivot a little bit. Let's talk about. All right, so that's great. The organization can be growing bigger, healthier. Now we do get a perk of that marketing because now people are going to understand what NARPM is, and now my accreditation, my NPM, my RMP, probably a little bit more valuable. Now, what else is NARPM doing to add value to the members?
Yes. So real quick, what you just said reminded me. We want everyone to start saying master property manager instead of NPM. In your email signature, like behind your name. I had to do NPM behind my name on this because there was only enough space. I couldn't type out master property manager. But because we're starting to be more public facing, people see master property manager and they get that versus NPM. Like no one knows what that stands for. So
Makes sense. Yep.
I
You
want
said
everyone listening to start using master property manager instead of NPM. So with that being said,
also,
what
what
else
about CRMC? Do we need to spell that out too? If your company's CRMC?
I don't know. That's going to be really long to put in your email signature. But master property manager is going to grab someone's attention, right?
True that.
Yeah. So, okay. You said, what else are we doing? One of the things that you mentioned in the beginning as the three things is data.
Mhm.
So we are sitting on some opportunities right now to collect data that is truly clean and accurate for our industry, right? For our space, which is managed single family rentals. Because there's data out there that Zillow provides, that a lot of these other companies provide, that they actually sell back to us, that we buy, which is ridiculous if you think about it. They're taking our data,
And selling it back to
mix,
us.
yeah, mixing it with like really bad, dirty data out there in the, self-managing world or uh, um, institutional world, like those numbers are not a true reflection of our own data. And then they're mixing it and then they're making us pay for it. So it's really ridiculous. And we have a great opportunity to mine our own data to get, because if you think about like the DIY landlord data, like their days on market, their rental rate, renewal rate, all of that will not be a match to our professionally managed data. right? So we want to mine like our own data and then be able to present our potential clients, even like outside, publicly. Hey, here is, if you want to see what the true professionally managed data looks like, here it is. Here's what the numbers look like.
So
So
how are we getting that data? Is that going to be surveys, or is that going to be, are we going to create our own, back end software like Zillow to that people can upload their data or, post it online and that gets marketed as well?
the best way to collect that data, and we're still working on it, is to partner with our existing vendors. So our software vendors, right? Um, each vendor, I mean, NARPM is just like we make up a small portion of their data, but each of our vendors probably hold millions of sets of data, each one of them. So we're really, all we need is for our members to say, yes, you can have access to my data. And then we go to these software vendors and say, let's do an API, right? And then let's start getting that data from you. And then we will have to then have our own dashboard and a way to sort that data and then putting it into a way that it could be
You think
interpreted.
you think they're willing to play ball and giving NARPM that data?
I think so. They're playing ball with someone else right now. I
Zillow?
guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. So, but here's the thing, Pete, and you said it before, like high tide rises all ships.
Mhm.
So, a lot of these software vendors are some of our platinum, right, sponsors and our premium partners. So we all know that the more we help NARPM grow, the better their
Grows their
business is.
business as well.
Mhm. Yeah. So we hope, we have not gotten that far yet, but we
Now,
hope that they will partner with us and help with this on this effort.
now that's going to help with like days on market. It's going to help with like lease, maybe even some sales stuff.
Mhm.
What about like internally though? Like what's our average revenue per unit or our expense per unit or our, like the financial aspects of that? I know NARPM tried to do this a few years back and it landed somewhat okay. Not enough. I don't think not enough people were um, participated. Also, everybody's charge accounts were different. That's why we came up with the NARPM accounting standards. Is there anything on the roadmap for being able to understand, like, hey, I have a property management firm and I'm running 8% profit margin. Is that good? Like,
Mhm. Yep. So when we talk about data, there are really three main sets that we're going to focus on. So I already addressed the rental market data.
mhm.
We also have what you just said, which is business performance data. And then the third set is membership profile data. Right? Who are our membership? So with the business performance data, we actually already started on that project, led by Mike Nelson out of Atlanta. Um, big numbers guy, right? He's all about, hey, if you want to run a successful business, you have to know your numbers. Um, you have to know your metrics. Well, how do we know that our numbers and our metrics, uh, if we don't, like, how do we know that this is successful without having
That's
something to
right.
compare to? So he actually
At that
came
point,
to,
it's just a number.
it's just a number.
It's just a
So
number.
he came to the board last year and said, hey, let's do something here. So we started with that effort. We have something built, right? It's called Perform Metrics. Right now, we are some of our challenges is people are either they don't want to take the time to submit their information, or they don't have the information at all. If you take a look at some newer businesses, they're struggling to just keep up with calls from tenants and owners. They're not sitting there thinking about, well, how do I create KPIs and how do I keep track of my KPIs and how do I understand what my KPIs are telling me?
Right.
Like, they don't even have time to really do that. So there has to be an education piece to this, and then also a way to help them to extract this data without our members having to put a whole lot of time and effort into it. So we're still working on that. We're trying to work with some of our vendor partners to make it easy for our members. And then even if our members didn't have this data today, we're trying to figure out a way to help them get this data, help them set it up. So it is that, I'll be honest, is going to take some effort and time to be successful. But we are in the process of identifying who we should partner with, right? There are
I, I
plenty of people
I have a
who have,
suggestion that
yeah.
will probably fall flat, but here's
All
my
right.
suggestion, okay? And I got this from so Felicia, my wife, used to work for a Marathon Oil Company, and they were part of something called OIG. And for them to even be a member of OIG, they had to fill out this survey. Had to fill it out. You don't fill it out, you get excommunicated, whatever it's called. Right? What if NARPM says, you know what? The NARPM, because right now the yearly rate to be a NARPM member is incredibly cheap, right? It's
$275 with the discount.
super valuable, right? Um, what if you say, hey, it's going to be $8,000 a year, and I'm just throwing a number out there, right? But let's just say it's like $600 a year. But if you fill this survey out, it goes to $250.
Mm.
So you use as leverage, and now it's like, oh heck, I'll do that to save X dollars. So anyway, just my thought out there. Whatever, take it, leave it.
I'm gonna take this thought and give it to Mike Nelson, and
There you go. Just an
we are
worst case
creating a,
scenario, we make a lot more money for the organization. We can invest it into marketing and yada yada.
yeah, 100%. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like if you don't participate, in the survey and providing us our
Well,
data,
why should you get the same amount of benefit
you
as
shouldn't
100%?
get, yeah, you will not have, well, one, you wouldn't have access to this report that is really critical to helping your business improve, right? So, right. It's
Yeah.
like,
But
man,
it's only critical if we have enough data, right?
if we have,
If 10% of, like, again, I'll use 10%, right? 10% of people volunteer, 10% of people might put their information in, and typically it's going to be the 10% that do well, right? So it's going to skew the numbers, right? There's no reason for me, like if my numbers aren't very good, there might not really be a reason for me, like, hey, I don't want to be embarrassed or whatever. But honestly, like, of course, no one knows no one knows any, like, the information is not shared with anybody and all that good stuff. So 100% you should do it because you should see where you're at. So, so not having access to the data is one way to get people to do it, or just charging a higher membership fee is another way to get them to do it.
we're gonna put your idea on the board
There
for
we go.
sure.
I love it.
Yeah. We're welcoming ideas right now because we could use all the help we can get. So,
All right, so we're going to start becoming data driven as an organization, which I got to be honest with you, Didi, that anybody can create a meetup these days. Anybody, there's conferences out there, for property management. There's Facebook groups out there. So, NARPM was literally slipping away as far as, like, were they actually matching the vision that was out there, right? To be the industry leader. And now with the NARPM 2.0, we're really taking that next step to become the industry leader. Now, I truly believe industry leader means people know who we are, and that there's value, tons of value to the membership. And to me, value right now in this climate that we're in is data, data and knowledge.
Data is knowledge. Data is power, and also with data, like, so we to be the leader. We want people, media, we want lawmakers, we want everybody in the industry to come to NARPM as the number one place when they need the most accurate rental market data, or for the lawmakers to come to us and say, hey, you guys know what's going on. You guys are on top of it. You're not afraid to voice your opinions, right, with your PR firm. Tell us before we even introduce this bill, how is it going to impact the landlords of our industry? How is it going to impact the residents, the tenants of our industry? Because you guys, they're going to recognize NARPM. We are the third party who is fair to both sides, right? We're here to protect the landlords, and we're here to protect the tenants. So we see both sides. And we really are the best resource to come to. Plus, we have the data to back up our opinions, and we can show them, look, our members represent millions of doors under management across the entire country. So if you're going to make a law, you better check
And
with us
it's
on that
millions of
impact.
doors by mom and pop. It's
Yeah,
it's it's the it's just normal people. It's not BlackRock. It's
correct.
you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
all right, so these are all great. We're running out of time here. So anything else that we need to tell the membership?
Yeah, just a couple other things I'll touch up on quickly about the value of membership, right? So one of the things that we're going to work on is right now, if you're a current NARPM member listening to this, you probably know or maybe not know that we have a marketplace on narpm.org where you can get discounts like on health insurance and on buying goods at Home Depot, etc. Right? But truly, we want to negotiate something that's better for you. That's more of a value, in my opinion, for our business owners is like vendors like VPM or vendors like Property Meld or vendors like Apply and Appfolios of the world. We go to them and we say, look, give us a discount that you will offer only to NARPA members. Like they have to be a member. And if they want to use your services, they will get this discount or whatever, right? Benefit. And then we're going to total up the value of all of these discounts and benefits and say, look, you can only get this if you're a NARPA member. So for $275, you're going to get now tens of thousands of dollars of benefits because you're going to use these vendors anyway. You need them in your business. Now you're going to save money.
Didi, it was like you were sitting in my presentation at NARPM Broker Owner, right? Offer so much value, people feel stupid saying no.
People feel stupid saying, I think maybe I got that idea from you, Pete.
VPM, we do the same thing, right? If you go Gold Glove, we charge X dollars, but then you get access to a marketplace that saves you up to $25,000. So I love the concept, and I stole it from Alex Hormozy, right? Hormozy talks about making offers so good that people feel stupid saying no. So I think that is a great way to position the membership in NARPM.
That's the idea behind that. So last thing I'll share with you
Mm-hmm.
before we finish is, so everybody cares about legislative changes. That is like something that we all care about, that members should care about. But we have our great lobbyists out there working on the Hill, trying to convince lawmakers to make changes. But these changes sometimes take years, right, of efforts and PAC contributions and all of that. So how do we help our members and make that impact like right away that they can see and feel? So an idea with that is called a legal toolkit and legal office hours. So we're going, Monica Gilroy, this is her brainchild, right? Monica Gilroy is going to bring some other attorneys in who are state specific, right? They understand property management laws and they understand what we go through with legislations out there impacting us. And they're going to put together a guide, a resource kind of to help the average property management company to navigate through all of these legal issues. And if something were to happen, like a claim got put on you or the EPA is on your front doorsteps, you can go to this guide and quickly search like what information, what documents do I need to gather? What do I need to do to prepare for this? And then on top of that, you will have access to a free legal hotline. Call in and get help directly from attorneys like Monica Gilroy. And NARPM is going to foot that bill.
That is amazing. That's great news. Because if you're in this business long enough, you will get sued.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not if.
Yeah, you will get sued.
Not if or when. Well, Madame President, thank you so much for being here. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what is your NARPM email?
My email is dlee@rentpure.com for now.
Okay.
And then you can always find me on LinkedIn as well. My name did change recently to Didi Garzon. So you can search for Didi Garzon on LinkedIn.
And Garzon.
Correct.
Didi Garzon. And it's dlee@rentpure.com still?
Yes.
Awesome. And if you are listening to this and you're like, I'm super excited, I'm not a NARP member, I need to join, go to narpm.org or give them a call at 800-782-3452. And if you are looking for remote team members, give VPM Solutions a shot. VPMsolutions.com. You can email me direct at pete@vpmsolutions. Madam President, thank you so much for being here. See you, everybody.
Thanks, Pete.